the Taliban. You can see the armed Taliban. These are exclusive shots, and these are not live. These are not live. These are from earlier, close to Kabul airport. This is not Kabul airport, but in Kabul. How Afghanistan flags were removed. Video shows Afghanistan flags were removed by the Taliban. These are exclusive pictures on Republic TV. As we were monitoring the wires, we just came across these shots, and these are live shots of the Taliban that just stormed over a building, and they removed the Afghanistan flags on the Afghanistan Independence Day. Today is the 102nd Independence Day of Afghanistan, and look at that. They're trying to cover it. They're stamping it. They're covering it. They're trying to remove those shots once again. They're removing the shot. They're removing the flag. Then they're going to cover it eventually with black. Look at them. They're armed militia, terrorists who are going to sort of cover these flags. They came on the terrace of the building, and these shots were broadcast on news agency. These pictures were broadcast on news agency APTN. That's the Associated Press. They had a live shot first of all of a building, and also of the Kabul airport. They kept going from one angle to another, and these people, you'll see that there were youth on the terrace. And the Taliban comes up. The Taliban removes the flag, and there are youth on the terrace still there, wearing, sporting what looks like armbands, Afghan armbands. And see, look at that. You can see that there is a boy there who is wearing the Afghan mask as well. And then they suddenly storm up the building. They come up the building, and they take away the flags. Taliban storms building and takes away the Afghan flags, and it's a live shot. It was happening as we speak. It was a live shot. It was happening as we speak, and that's why we cut across to those pictures. We'll also just tell you that it was happening as we speak from the newsroom. We were monitoring across Afghanistan. We are seeing pictures. We'll go full frame to the pictures because these are defining pictures. We're going full frame to them, and you will see in this video that not full frame to the Kabul airport, but to the full frame shots of the flag being removed. There were a few youth. The Taliban ran up to the terrace and they sort of stopped them. And you will see that there were a few youth who were sporting flag armbands in the colors of the Afghan flag, and there were few who were, look at that. You can just see them pull the flag, the Taliban, and they're armed. They have AK-47s, and they're pulling the flags. And it's an exclusive shot that came in on Republic TV. We were tracking this, and this was near the airport from the terrace, and this was happening, and we just happened to capture the shot. And actually, Suesha, it just happened because the shot that you see was not intended to, I think, focus on this. It was focused on the airport. But just as the camera was panning, the video journalist happened to sort of, capture this, which was also ongoing close to the, vantage point where he was, I guess, he or she was. And this video shows that the Taliban came on top of this building, and then they were removing the national flags of Afghanistan. A very defining visual, actually, because you had youth. You'll see that the youth on the other side, while the Taliban terrorists are sort of taking away these flags, you'll see that the youth who were sporting armbands, who were also sort of standing there. Some had face masks in Afghan colors. There is another man. Look at that. They cover it up with a black cloth immediately. They ask people to clear, and of course it's the rule of terror. That's how the shot ended, and the camera moved again. The camera panned again. So I hope you got the full picture. But it just tells you how the people of Afghanistan have been completely trampled upon by the Taliban. The Taliban rule of terror has begun. The people of Afghanistan don't have any freedom anymore. Back to you for now.
Right, Niranjan, we saw all of that shot, and of course, you defined for us every single frame. And which is why, on that note, I want to take this to Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, who has been with us on the broadcast, who's been abreast with all the breaking news that has been coming in. And sir, if you just put all this together, the firing, the open firing at the airport, the flags being removed, and you see the Taliban soldiers or the Taliban militia, they're removing the Afghan flag. And this is on the 102nd Independence Day in Afghanistan. What do you have to say about the state of affairs? What are the thoughts running on your mind right now?
First and foremost, my compliments to your team to have been able to get these shots absolutely live to what just that is happening. Total, absolute compliments to Republic TV for having done so. I think your reporter from there, the cameraman from there, risked their lives to be there and being able to show us what is happening in our homes. I think my compliments and wonderful, no doubt about that. Now, having said that, in 102 years, if you look back, the type of flags that Afghanistan has also had is amazing. It's amazing how the flags have been changing. With every regime that has been coming, the national flags keep changing. And that is what is bad. Taliban has been doing that. They did it in 96, 2001. Well, it was expected again this time. But this time, the kind of resistance that must come from the people is now to be seen. If the government of Afghanistan has failed to be able to fight Taliban, I don't know how they have failed to fight, because they were equipped well. They had been, for the last 20 years, they knew what is to be done. They were empowered with all the kinds of information and education. And despite that, if they have surrendered, it's a bad thing to do. And that purely shows poor leadership, lack of motivation. And what goes in favor of Taliban is leadership and total motivation, be it radicalized motivation, be whatsoever. The very fact that they have been able to do it is a bad thing. Having said that, I would still look at it from a little this thing, that what I see as a hope, I would say light at the end of the tunnel, are the women of Afghanistan. Really wonderful to see women of Afghanistan. They comprise 50% of the population. And over the last about 4 to 5 years, over a lakh of women have been widowed. And if that be so, each one of them has about 8 to 9 children also. I think they are a huge force to fight the Taliban. Let us see what they can do. If some women will lose lives, it doesn't matter. As long as they fight this kind of culture, this culture has to be fought. Because if we call it religion, 99 point, almost 5% people are all following Islam. Some of them may be Shia, the Hazaras are Shia, but all of them are Muslims. And despite that, you find that there is fight on between Tajiks, and between the complete group of Hazaras, Tajiks, Uzbeks, and the Pathan. And the Pathans who were in rule for the last about 250 years are there in a short rule of Tajiks in between for a very, very short rule. But otherwise, 250 years the Pathans have been ruling. But this is not the way to rule. Even Ghani, who fled, was a Pathan. Karzai, who's wanting to now negotiate, is a Pathan. There are good Pathans also. But this radicalized lot of Pathans who are found their way into Pakistan, they found their way into madrasas, radicalized, and then to spread this kind of, I said, Deobandi thought process, or Wahhabism, what would be termed, is extremely bad. I don't think the very fact that resistance is coming from the Afghanis themselves is a good sign. And coming from women not caring for their lives is a fantastic sign. I think they must all come on the streets and give up. Doesn't matter what the Talibanis can do.
Right.
There will be so much of world pressure. I think Taliban will have to surrender and will have to have a totally fresh outlook and allow women, children, and freedom in Taliban what the Afghanis really deserve. Yeah.
Because fact remains, sir, that Taliban can never change, and the developments in the last few days indicate that. They are brutal, they are ghastly, and that is the way they are going to function. All those big statements that they were trying to make, that they have changed, they want a peaceful transfer of power, none of that is happening on the ground.